Well, I'm out today on the red bike and the sun's shining. There's not much wind and the temperature's reasonably pleasant. So you never know, might be quite a short video today because I usually spend half the video complaining about the weather. But there's not really that much to complain about today. The one thing I am going to complain about today is close passes and just general dangerous driving in relation to cyclists. I try and ride relatively quiet roads every now and then. There's busier roads that link up the quieter roads, but nevertheless try to stay off main roads as much as possible. And still, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I will have 4 or 5 close passes every single ride. And some of them are, whew, that's a bit close, and others are fucking hell. It really frightens you because they come so close to you. And there are people who will say, just stay off the road. You've got a gravel bike, just ride gravel paths. And there's a couple of problems with that. Firstly, sometimes you need the road to get to the gravel path. And secondly, why should I have to change the way I ride in order to allow car drivers to break the law? One of the biggest issues is the sense of entitlement. The car drivers will tell you roads are made for cars. Cyclists shouldn't be allowed on the road. Roads are for cars. And you see me riding against the white line here, which is perfectly legal, perfectly acceptable, but it triggers car drivers even though there's no one behind me. The reason I do it is because the road surface is so bad. We used to have something called a public service announcement. They have these little adverts on the telly. So you'd be sitting there watching Coronation Street and then an advert would come up telling you the correct way to use a pedestrian crossing or whatever else it might be. See, here's one way and another one. And one of the reasons we don't have public service announcements, well, obviously, one of the big reasons is money. Because governments don't want to spend money anymore. And the other reason is we had a government in power for 14 years who had this ideology that people shouldn't be told what to do because that could be state interference. People should use common sense. The only trouble is, common sense isn't very common. And everybody believes that common sense says things should be done in a way that suits them. So what we have now, at best, is a couple of local police forces putting up little posts on social media telling people about the law that you have to give cyclists 1.5 meters. And social media has its own problems because it's designed to make you angry. And that's not just me saying that. You can have a look. There's a couple of films about it, about how the algorithm is designed to keep you angry, because when you're angry you come back, and that's just human nature. if you're walking along and somebody says, "Oh, you look nice today," you just kind of walk on. You might be slightly embarrassed, and if it's somebody you don't know, you might think, "That's a bit weird," but nevertheless, you just carry on. Whereas if somebody says, "You ugly fat bastard," you turn back. "What? What did you say? Say that again, come on." And that's what social media does. Because they want you to keep coming back. So nobody says, "Oh, cyclists need to be shown respect." They don't go, "Oh, good idea." No, they'll show you the replies that say, "Cyclists shouldn't be allowed on the road. Cyclists shouldn't be allowed on the road because they're made for cars." Without a hint of irony, well, cyclists are so entitled. So the social media is not the way that you're going to get the message across. And of course, another problem is there's no enforcement anymore because we don't have traffic police. I'm 61 years old, and throughout my life there has been one constant, and that constant has been cutbacks. In every walk of life, cutbacks. We've got to make cutbacks. We need more cutbacks. It's not enough money, keep telling us. We've got to make cutbacks. So where's all the money gone, you might be wondering. Charlatans like Nigel Farage will tell you it's foreigners. That's where the money's gone. Despite him earning over £1 million a year for doing next to nothing, others will tell you it's people who don't work. That's where the money's gone. But none of that's true. The money has gone to making rich people even richer. I read something the other day, and I haven't independently verified it, but nevertheless, that if Elon Musk was to give every single American $1 million, he'd still be the richest man in the world, and yet he still wants more. Anyway, that little rant was just to tell you that we've got no law enforcement. So whatever you put out to motorists, they know it doesn't matter, because if they break the law, they're not going to get caught. And that's why we cyclists as a collective, we need to do something about it. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. We all need to report bad driving, particularly when it puts us in danger. Because the only thing that's going to make them change their ways is the very real possibility of getting caught. If we can get critical mass, where drivers are reported more often than not, then they'll change. Because there's a real fear of a consequence to their actions. And it goes against the grain for me. I've never been one to report people. But I just feel that if we don't do something, people are just going to end up, or should I say continue, being killed and injured on the roads. And it's a laborious process. I'm guilty myself, you know. You have to get your video clip, and you have to clip out the bit that shows the close pass, and then you've got to upload it, and you've got to fill in all the details of where it was and what time it was, and it can be quite a process. And it kind of makes you wonder if that isn't really the point, you know. Maybe the coppers don't really want to annoy the motorists. Maybe all these safe cycling campaigns are just lip service. But As I said, we've got to do something, because we're going to lose friends, and the more friends we lose, the more we'll stop cycling, till eventually we lose cycling as an activity. So let me know in the comments what you think. Because what we need is public service announcements, not just telling people how they should be overtaking cyclists. We also need one that says cyclists are allowed on the road. And they can't pay road tax because it doesn't exist. And if you don't like it as a car driver, hand in your licence. So as I said, let me know your thoughts. And if you found this video of any interest, like and subscribe.